Hi everybody, it's Miss Brown here, and I wanted to change things up a little bit and record myself reading the reading story to you all this week. It's crazy to think we only have 3 weeks of school left, so you're almost there. Keep up the good work. And this week we are on lesson 28, and it is called Yeh-Shen, and it is a fairy tale. So that means that it is a make-believe story that has been told for many years. And as we're reading, look for characters who would not exist in real life and look for a happy ending. And this story is very similar to Cinderella. So if you've heard Cinderella before, it's pretty much the same thing, just different characters, and just the story's different, but it's very similar. You'll see how it's kind of the same thing as Cinderella, but it's also a little bit different. And our skill this week is going to be talking about the sequence of events. So the author often tells the story events in order of how they happen, and the order of the events is called the sequence of events. So thinking about the story events can help you understand the author's message or what you can learn from the story. So you're going to get to practice putting the events in the story in order from beginning to end. So just make sure you're listening very carefully so you can complete that task. And of course, you can always use your book to look back if you need help putting the events in order. And we're going to meet the illustrator before we start reading, and her name is Jill Dubin. So she always loved art even as a child. She and her sister used to spend hours making dolls out of paper. Jill used paper to make the pictures for Yeh-Shen. First, she sketched each picture, and next she picked the pieces of paper with different colors and patterns. She cut out pieces of the paper and placed them onto the sketches. The backgrounds and the characters' clothes are all different pieces of paper glued together. So if you look at the pictures, I think they are very interesting. And it's really cool that that's all paper that she used for this. So it's really, I love the illustrations of this story, and of course I love this story as well. So just make sure you look at the beautiful pictures in the story and just think about how she had to make those with paper. So we are going to read Yeh-Shen. Yeh-Shen was a girl who grew up in China a long time ago. Her mother and father had died, so she lived with her mean stepmother Jen and her stepsister June Lee. They lived in a cave. Every time Jen looked at Yeh-Shen, she became angry. Yeh-Shen was gentler and kinder than Jen's own daughter, June Lee. Yeh-Shen was also a hard worker. June Lee was spoiled and lazy. Jen gave Yeh-Shen only rags to wear. She gave her a long list of chores to do. When Yeh-Shen finished one task, Jen added 3 more to the list. Yeh-Shen was always busy working. She did not have a chance to make any friends, but she did have one very special friend. This friend had golden eyes, glimmering scales, and a big, beautiful tail. It was a fish that lived in the pond. Every day, Yeh-Shen stopped by the pond and shared some crumbs with the fish. Every day, the fish popped up to greet its friend. Yeh-Shen's stepmother saw this and became furious. She didn't want Yeh-Shen to have any friends, not even a fish. One day, Jen caught the fish and cooked it for dinner. Yeh-Shen cried when she saw her friends served for dinner. She ran out of the cave and sat by the pond. "What's the matter?" an old man asked her. Yeh-Shen told him about her friend, the fish. Then she told him what her stepmother had done. "Listen carefully to me," the old man said. "The bones of that fish hold special powers. Take the bones and bury them in 4 pots. Put 1 pot at each corner of your bed. Whenever you need help, tell the bones what you need. They will make your every wish come true." Yeh-Shen followed the old man's directions. When she got back to the cave, she buried the bones in 4 pots. Then she put the pots by the corners of her bed. She did not have anything to ask for yet, but she felt content knowing that her friend was close by. A few weeks later, the spring festival arrived. At the festival, young men and women could meet. They hoped to fall in love and marry. Jen didn't want to ruin June Lee's chances of finding a husband, so she ordered Yeh-Shen to stay home and clean. Then she and June Lee went to the festival. Yeh-Shen did not want to stay home and clean. For the first time since she buried the bones, she had a wish. I wish I had beautiful clothes, she said to the bones. I wish I could go to the festival. I wish I could be like all the other girls. As soon as Yeh-Shen said the words, something amazing happened. She was covered in the finest clothes from head to toe. Her old worn shoes were replaced by a pair of slippers made from silk. Yeh-Shen was overjoyed and grateful for the gifts from her friend. She ran off happily to the festival. Everyone at the festival stopped to stare at Yeh-Shen when she walked in. Who was this beautiful girl in the magnificent clothes? Yeh-Shen had a wonderful time at the festival, but she was worried that her stepmother would notice her. She decided to hurry home, but she ran so fast one of her silk slippers fell off. It lay in the middle of the road. It was the only sign that Yeh-Shen had visited the festival. At home, Yeh-Shen stuffed her new clothes into the pots. She concealed her one silk slipper too. She changed into her rags and waited for her stepmother to return. Meanwhile, a traveler found the silk slipper on the road. He knew it was valuable, so he gave it to the king. The king was curious to find the owner of the slipper, so he had his men build a hut. Anyone could come to this hut to try on the silk slipper. Yeh-Shen heard about the hut. She wanted her slipper back, so she sneaked out of the cave one night and ran quickly to the hut. As she crept toward the slipper, the king's men grabbed her. The king took one look at Yeh-Shen's rags and thought she was a thief. Yeh-Shen looked up at the king. Her eyes were filled with tears. The king saw how gentle and kind she was. He listened to her words. Please, I will show you the other slipper, Yeh-Shen whispered to the king. Yeh-Shen led the king to her home. She put on the matching silk slipper and her fine clothes. The king knew then that he wanted to marry her. However, he was angry at how Jin and Jun Li had treated Yeh-Shen. He told them to never come to the castle, so they stayed in their cave for the rest of their lives. And that is the end. So now, after you have read that, if you want to look, I'm turning the page really quick. There is a Cinderella story on page 470. So if you want to read that and kind of compare the two, I know I heard a lot of similarities between Yeh-Shen and Cinderella, but I also heard a lot of differences. So that can just be an extra thing if you would like to do that. And so just have fun reading that and have fun putting the sequence of events in order. And I really miss you guys, and I hope to see you all when all this is over. And I can't wait for you all to make your first communion, because it is, today is the 26th. And I'm really sad that you all weren't able to make your first communion today, but it will happen. It's just a matter of time. So I'm thinking about you guys. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys sometime soon, and have a great week. Bye.